did so much too. And his impact on baseball, his impact on the fans was incredible. Better than anyone I have ever seen. And I played with one guy, Harmon Killebrew, who was the same way, always about 50 home runs a year. You know, he realized, Harmon, and so did Brooksy, how important the fans were to have them there. You know, he knew what those little kids were thinking when they were waiting for his autograph, you know, how much what they would give to get a Brooks Robinson autograph. Are you kidding? That was one of the biggest things a young sports person like that could ever attain, especially in that area.
And Scott Van Pelt did a great story the other night at ESPN about how he had a ball with Brooks Robinson. It fell down a sewer, and Brooks gave him another ball, signed it, and said, hey, don't lose this one. I mean, as you say, I had Bob Costas on radio yesterday. He said he makes Stan the Man Musial look like a grump. And that's saying something with, of course, how nice that Stan the Man was. And 1970, you know, listen, he has the great year. He wins the MVP of the World Series. He makes all those great defensive plays. And this is after a bad World Series against the Mets in '69. I know it's before your time as a player, Rick, but that '70 World Series, we talk about '71 with Clemente for the Pirates. It was a tour de force for him. In '70, the year before, it was a showcase for Brooks. How about that for a sec? Let me hear.
Well, it really was. I mean, but I was in the big leagues at that time. It was brief periods with the Minnesota Twins. Okay. But even back then, yeah, you heard stories about Brooks Robinson. And, you know, that was an era where players, major league players, just did not like young people coming up and having an opportunity to take other players' jobs. So they didn't treat you nice. But Harmon Killebrew was the first person to come over and say hi to me. And then Brooksy was the same way. When I got to Baltimore, there wasn't a lot of accolades about me being there. That's all right. But Brooks Robinson made you feel like you were part of the team now, and we were the best team in the American League. And, you know, we started to act like that. Brooksy, you know, he never wavered. You know, you never heard anything negative from him. He didn't talk about people. Everything was always so encouraging. You know, and the way he approached his job, you know, the work ethic that he had just proved that, you know, everybody on the team adhered to the way Brooks Robinson played the game. He went out, he was very disciplined on his defensive practices. On offense, he did the kind of things in that era they don't do in this era today. You know, start off batting practice, hit the ball the other way, up the middle, you know, work a little bit here and there on bunting, you know. He was serious about winning, and he did it the right way, and he did it nicely, and he had a lot of compassion for guys that were struggling. It was always words of encouragement all the time. When Brooks was around, everything calmed down, and that was one of the great things about that personality, because as you know, I definitely was not that way.
Yeah, 100%. You're emotional. I mean, remember, when you talk about the Mount Rushmore and Baltimore sports, you know, Baltimore did not become a great sports town until the early 50s with the Colts and the Orioles basically getting there at the same time, but because they don't go back 150 years. So when you think about it, it's Ripken, it's probably Ray Lewis, it's definitely Unitas, and it's definitely Brooks. So if you think about the Mount Rushmore and Baltimore historical sports thing, Brooks is on it. And he got there in '55, played his first full year there in the late 50s, and he was such a big part of all those great teams. But Brooks, number 4 all time, even higher as far as Mount Rushmore is concerned in the city of Baltimore. How about that, Rick? Let me hear. Go ahead.
Well, absolutely. I mean, Brooks just embraced the entire state of Maryland and especially Baltimore. When people saw the way he played and the kind of production that he gave and the humility on top of that, not like a cocky athlete who was always looking for the media attention. Brooksy just went out and did his job every day. You know, when the little people came around and wanted to meet him, he was there for them. Always there for them. You know, and he would go out of his way, no matter how much the rest of the team said, Brooksy, don't do that. You don't have to spend any time signing autographs, that kind of thing. You know, like that. Brooksy said, no, that's exactly what I'm here for, to let them know that I'm as human can be, and you don't have to be special in that respect in order to be a great baseball player. So you just keep working hard. Always that kind of encouragement, no matter how well he was doing, no matter how bad he was doing. Brooksy was the same person every single day. When he came to the clubhouse, you just wanted to genuflect in front of him. He was that good.
And, of course, in '77, when you came back off an injury, they put Brooks in a broadcast booth, and that was not one of Rick Dempsey's better offensive days with all those strikeouts. And Brooks said, you know what, I could have done that too. How about that for a sec? Let me hear. Go ahead.
Well, Brooksy came down on the field in the clubhouse afterwards, and he walked up to me after I struck out like the first 3 times in a row, and he says, they retired me for that? And we both laughed together because we knew that was out of character. He couldn't have been serious about that sort of thing. And we laughed together about that. I said, yeah, I know, Brooksy. I am so sorry. But it's a good thing, the people don't really know that I was actually the player who retired Brooks Robinson. Kind of a funny way to do it, to come off the disabled list and take his place. But that was a day that a lot of people were very sad because they didn't want to see Brooks Robinson go. He was just a miraculous player and such a gentleman and everything. He had to be the best player Major League Baseball ever had to represent the sport.
Excellent job, Rick. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Good to see the Orioles be great this year, too. Keep it up. Thanks for a few minutes. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much. All right, guys.